Excellent. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 4:04 with a roll call. Gina?
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Colleen Clinton,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Catherine Fontaine. Here. Claudia Parker,
Claude?
Yes.
Ian Malloy,
Here.
and Kevin O'Connor.
Here.
Thank you. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to have someone make a motion to approve the agenda as outlined at your seat.
I have a change if possible.
This is just the special meeting for the public hearing for the budget agenda. Are you talking about that one? Or
No,
Okay, so the next meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So can somebody please make a motion to approve of the agenda as outlined?
I'll make that motion.
And a second,
I'll second.
and a roll call.
Colleen Clinton,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Catherine Fontaine. Yes. Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Ian Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
and Kim Leonard.
Yes,
Motion is passed.
excellent. Okay, so we are going to start with Dr. Longo and Dr. Webb with staff reports from Mr. Kostecki.
Okay, Mr. Kostecki is going to present the budget for the upcoming school year.
Schedule that you see at your desk for projected is exactly the same schedule that I presented to you 30 days ago. Just plus days ago. And just a little informal recap. Levy revenue, which is about 80% of the revenue for a school district, is going to pretty much be even with last year. In fact, slightly down, even though normally you get a consumer price index and new growth from levy work. Because when I was preparing the budget, I felt that given these times, I feel that our collection rate will not be as strong as it has been historically. And normally I put about a 1% to 2% non-collection rate. This time I put about 4%. So that costs of the district presumably about $700,000. In theory, you could argue that it will be timing, that ultimately the real estate taxes do get collected. It just may be not within the same fiscal year that we're trying to recognize here. And then the other component parts of our revenue as a district, I've also kind of taken a sharper pencil to it and been a little bit more pessimistic in that being with 50% of our students at home, our extended day activities, our lunchroom activities, a lot of the other ancillary revenue items that we normally would recognize will be definitely a little on the softer side. Corporate personal property tax, I'm hearing that the state is not going to be as passing that along as much as they used to. So overall, revenues are down about $474,000 over prior year levels. Getting to the next page, on the expense side, we took a rather sharp pencil because in light of the fact that our revenues are going to be down, we had to sit there and reduce our costs so that we could have a break-even operation. Salaries are pretty much awash with last year's level, even though this year in the contract is one of our more expensive years. One of the things that helped us, though, is about 7 people retired from prior year to this year, and generally speaking, they're leaving at the higher end of the scale, and we bring them in at 2 to 3 years worth of experience, sometimes a master's degree, but it's still a lesser expense than the person that are replacing. And there also was a number of positions that we did not fill this year. Into that. We also had a significant savings, if you remember, in our health insurance. We saved about $450,000 by changing not necessarily the policies and the type of coverage we have, but the agency that represents us. We're in a much larger risk group. We are a self-insured district, but we're self-insured within a co-op of 100 school districts versus 6 districts. So that's had significant savings for us. And then the rest of the component parts, we cut about $500,000 worth of expenses for some of the discretionary items that we could control. So with that, with the yin and the yang, we're going to have a break-even operation. The budget.
And so Tim met with every single department and every single school this year and went over the budget, and then we gave charges to each of the areas to figure out how we can be more cost effective in those areas. And we'll be talking throughout the year on some of those things we will be doing, relative to staffing and those things. In addition, about 38, he mentioned 38% of our kids are on remote learning right now. So they are not buying lunches. And in our observations, when we're walking around, many kids are bringing their own lunches right now. We will be going to a full in second week in October where we will have hot lunch again. But I anticipate, just because of the virus, that maybe parents are feeling more comfortable making lunches for their kids, rather than having them buy group lunches. So
How does it impact that we now are going to be able to give away free lunches, so to speak, we'll obviously get our money back from the state.
The state will be reimbursing us.
yes,
So will that help anything on that line for expenses for the food service or not really?
Well, I budgeted under the other scenario.
Okay.
It's like anything else with great budgets and great planning. Things move
All the
throughout
time.
the year.
Yes, this is 2020, right? Expect the unexpected. Okay. All right. Well, that's great.
All right, if there's no other questions, then we do it that.
Claudia, do you have any questions for Tim at this time?
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for? All right, so at this time, I would like to open the floor for public comments regarding the 2021 budget. Are there any comment cards to be filled out for the 2021 budget? Open the public hearing comments?
No, we do not have it.
No. All right, so at this time, I will close the floor for public comments. Do we want to take a vote, right?
you should do it.
All
Yeah.
right, so would somebody please make a motion to close the floor for public comments regarding the hearing for the budget? And a second,
I'll second.
and a roll call.
Ken Roy,
Yes.
Connie Clifton,
Yes.
Ken Leonard,
Yes.
Jean Cannon, yes. Kevin O'Connor.
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine. Yes. Claudia Parker.
Yes.
Thank you. And motion is passed. And at this time, we have no public comments also for the budget. So I would like to adjourn this meeting. All in favor? Aye. Aye. The meeting is adjourned at 4:12. All right, so now we're going to open up another meeting. So don't go anywhere.
8 minutes. That's a record.
And we have 2 more minutes before we can start the next meeting. So I don't know if you want to just put it on hold for a minute. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 4:15 with a roll call, please. Gina,
Ken Leonard,
here.
Connie Clifton,
Here?
Jean Cannon, here. Catherine Fontaine. Here. Claudia Parker,
Here.
Daniel Roy,
Here.
and Kevin O'Connor.
Here.
Thank you. Could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to have someone approve the agenda as outlined at your, I don't think there was any additions.
No, but can we, I was not able to make the Arrow meeting Monday evening. And there's, an Arrow board report in here. And I have
So you
not
want that removed?
got the summary of the meeting yet.
All right, so we can, under board reports,
Yeah, and can we put it on next month then?
Yep.
Okay.
so we will delete the Arrow governing board report.
Can happen. Can that happen?
What?
Somebody go
Because I know how anybody might back up, but it doesn't seem like anybody else does that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think since you're appointed, I don't believe that you could
I
send
thought we
some.
couldn't for Arrow.
No,
Oh, you
Like,
can?
we can
You can?
flip flop for meetings, for facilities.
Everything else, I don't think-
policy,
I think because we appoint Gina specifically.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought too.
And none of us want to
I'm
go.
facilities, right?
I'm policy.
Okay, that's why we've got.
Well, I'm
Okay,
on,
sorry.
we're on facilities.
Yeah, okay.
We're on policy. Needless.
You got this.
Yeah, no, because that was
That's what I
the
thought,
plan,
yeah.
is that when
Okay,
I
that's what I was going to do. I just thought about them.
I can write something.
All right, so at this time, I would like to, oh God, you guys got me lost. Make a motion to approve the agenda as outlined with the Arrow report being removed for this month and being moved to next month. Do I have somebody to make the first motion
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
and a roll call?
Colleen Clinton,
Yes.
Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes, and Kim Leonard,
Yes.
motion is passed.
I'd like to have someone make a motion to recess to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. Do I have someone to make that
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
And a roll call?
Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Colleen Clinton,
Yes.
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
motion is passed.
Excellent. I do anticipate that, I think it will be really pushing it to say we'll be out by 5:30. I think it'll be,
We could continue executive session later, I
Oh.
think, because we have guests that are coming at 5:30, it'd probably be
okay.
finished by.
Okay, so we will be back at 5, yes, and if we need to continue executive session at the end of the meeting, that's what we'll do then.
Okay.
All right, so, thank you for reminding me. At this time, we are recessed to closed session. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting back to order at 5:49. Thank you for being patient. At this time, I would like to talk about, I'm sorry. Can you put the picture up for me? All right, thank you. I'd like to take a moment to remember Jill Scapiak, who joined our school district over 26 years ago, first as a 6th grade teacher, and then she moved into the physical education department. She spearheaded several charity efforts and extracurricular activities throughout our district. She was well-known and well-loved by our community, our students, our staff, and administration. We are so glad to have had her as a member of our family. Jill passed away on Sunday, and her passing breaks our hearts. We would like to take a moment of silence tonight at our board meeting to remember Jill and to keep her family in our thoughts and prayers at this time. This has been a very hard week for our community as we celebrate her life, and then we also celebrate the passing of her for her family. So please, again, just keep her family in your prayers and our community in your prayers and your thoughts. Thank you. At this time during the open meeting, we have resumed to the open meeting. And we have suspended closed session. We will resume closed session after B, which is the business office, Mr. Kostecki's reports, and the curriculum and instruction. We will need to resume for a short meeting of closed session. We will then return for public comments and to finish the rest of our agenda for the evening. We do apologize. Unfortunately, we could not finish all of our business by 5:30. So at this, but we did not want to, we certainly wanted to come out and continue with our staff reports with Dr. Longo and Dr. Webb. So at this time, I'd like to turn over to Dr. Longo and Dr. Webb under staff reports.
Speaking of beloved people, Alan Reyes was a student at Central Middle School, and his parents, Mrs. Reyes Landwehr and father, Mr. Reyes Landwehr, are here tonight to talk about their kindness efforts. And next Friday, this coming Friday, is Kindness Day, and we're asking people to wear blue in his honor. He was not only a well-loved student, but a terrific musician. And his memory lives on in the good works and the kindness that we do for each other. So we'd like to introduce his parents, and they're going to talk a little bit about some of the fundraising efforts they've done on behalf of children and extending the love for music in our community.
Yeah, we're currently, last year, we did a fundraiser, and we, specifically for the D124 band program. Alan, as you all know, he loved music, played in 3 different bands, and it was just kind of our way of giving some peace to our family, and at the same time, it gives us a lot of joy to raise money for such a great cause. So we thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here and to have another fundraising effort again this year.
And I understand you're going to be awarding an instrument, right?
That is correct. Actually, we have this was unfortunately Mr. Dreyer, Alan's band teacher, could not be here tonight, but he wrote something and he wanted us to read. And with that, I'll go ahead and read this. Dear Diego, Toledo, and family, Alan was a student who left a lasting positive impact on all who had the pleasure of knowing him. Throughout his life, Alan strived to set an example of excellence in music performance. He also went out of his way to provide support to others whenever possible. Last year, through the efforts of Mrs. Reyes, with the support of School District 124, a fundraiser was held that honors Alan's memory and legacy. Mrs. Reyes and I decided a great way to honor Alan's memory would be to use some of the funds raised to purchase an instrument to give to a student who has demonstrated outstanding dedication and talent in learning a musical instrument. Due to the outstanding progress and dedication you have shown as a saxophone student at Central Middle School, we are proud to present you with a tenor saxophone that is your personal instrument to keep. My sincere hope is that you will continue to honor Alan's memory by practicing hard and becoming the best saxophone player that you can be. I also hope this saxophone serve as a constant reminder to you to do what you can to help others whenever possible, just as Alan did when he was with us. Sincerely, Mark.
You come on up here so we could take a picture of all of you with no, I can't shake that.
That's okay, we'll wash our hands.
I was like- Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, he will.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
And that truly exemplifies the heart of Evergreen Park. And we thank you for honoring your son's memory and keeping us alive in our memories.
Mr. and Mrs. Reyes-Land, yes, exactly. I offer the same sentiment. You have done such great things and Alan's voice has surely shown the community how important our music is to our kids. And I see that blue on the band door. It's just a beautiful memory. So we are so grateful for everything you're doing in his name. And these kids and these parents appreciate it too, I'm sure. So thank you. Thank you so much. I'm thankful for staying here in this community, have your support, not just a school, a community. I'm really, really grateful and just thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for letting us share your son's memory with our community. We appreciate it.
President Leonard, members of the board, as we continue our celebration, and it is a celebration, even though it's sadness, but it's still a celebration. We would like to ask Whitney Smeister to come forward. She is the market director of the American Heart Association, where this district, it is so awesome, raised a total of $17,836.16 last year. Thank you. Wow.
So grateful for the community and supporting this initiative. So my name is Whitney. I am the market director of the American Heart Association. I am so grateful for you guys for having me today, making the time for me to come and celebrate your community and our partnership that we have with Evergreen. I want to show appreciation to the students, teachers, staff, families of the Evergreen Park community for participating in our service learning program, Kids Park Challenge. A lot of us older people might remember this Jumbo Park. Last year we had all 4 elementary schools participate, and I know the students had a blast. You may know this, but this generation of kids are expected to live 5 years less than their parents. The combination of poor nutrition, decreased physical activity has led to this trend. And as a parent of a kindergartner, I'm really passionate about changing that trajectory so that everyone can live longer, healthier lives. As you can imagine, with the pandemic, most people have experienced decreased physical activity and heightened mental health concerns. So our most healthy stuff. In fact, we've been tasked to do more with less, especially as new research comes out showing the impact COVID-19 has on the heart, even in previously healthy individuals. As a nation, we've been tasked to do more with less as many families are navigating working and learning from home. As a former teacher, I was already impressed with the passion and creativity of our educators, and even more so now I stand in awe of how quickly they adapt and they pivot in this ever-changing environment. The work that our educators do is not easy, so I'm very grateful for them. Our Kids Heart Challenge and American Heart Challenge programs are designed to teach students in a memorable and fun way how to stay heart healthy, not only physically, but mentally too. When we made the shift from Jump Over Heart to Kids Heart Challenge a couple years ago, we began incorporating some SEL elements into our program. We've added a new grant program and invested more money back into schools through PE equipment and other direct contributions. Over the past few months, we've added so many more resources to help our coordinators in schools address things like social emotional learning, staying active at home, and even socially distancing games. It's been really fun. I want to take a moment to recognize the amazing PE teachers who have helped create this partnership and this tradition at our elementary school. Stephen over at Southeast, Jill at Southwest, Kelly, who's here with us tonight at Northwest, and Kenny over at Northeast. They've been amazing volunteers for the American Heart Association. Sorry. They've been amazing, whether it was their first year or their 5th year. Their creativity and passion for our mission is evident in everything they do. I am beyond grateful for their leadership. These educators did a tremendous job in instilling healthy hearts in students with our Kids Heart Challenge program. It is clear that they are very passionate about the health and wellness of their students, and we love seeing this come to life each year. The admins at each building have also been extremely supportive and involved, so I wanted to make sure to thank them as well. And I know that some have retired or moved on to other communities as well, so I want to thank them as well. I also want to take a moment that when I found out about the bill this morning, obviously like the rest of you, what a good picture. It was a shock. And last year was her first year working with us. Obviously she gets involved in many nonprofit initiatives, and she was phenomenal. And I had so much fun being a part of their program and getting to see her come to life with all of that. She's amazing. So not only do these amazing teachers educate their students to be healthy, but they reiterate the importance of helping others and offer an outlet for families to donate to the American Heart Association, which goes to advance cardiovascular research, advocacy efforts, community initiatives, guidelines for local hospitals, and so much more. Donations are not a requirement to participate in the program, but even with that being said, these schools raised over $17,000 last year to fight our nation's leading cause of death, heart disease. We also had 390 students register online and take a heart healthy challenge and engage in the program. As a former educator, I really care a lot about how our students are getting involved, so that number really is amazing. I'm inspired and so grateful for the work of everyone mentioned already and for the support of the entire Upstream Park community. Now more than ever, education on staying healthy is so important to keep hearts strong during this pandemic. I know that heart disease already affects so many of us. And while we know this year may look different, we will continue to support your schools with resources and be here for you. So thank you so much for everyone in the entire Upstream Park community. I wish you guys the best school year ever.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Yeah, Kelly, can you come up, please, and receive this on behalf of our schools? First.
Absolutely. Thank you. I do apologize. We do have Claudia Parker participating via telephone today, so I apologize for not saying that earlier. Thank you. Next, we have the Artsonia Artist of the Week.
Yes, Ms. Berry, would you like to talk about the Artsonia Artist of the Week, Nathan Hamberlin, who I had the joy of meeting yesterday? Buddy.
He cannot be here this evening. He's at home. I believe they're watching live.
Yes.
But right before his name is Nathan Hamberlin. He's a 2nd grader at Northeast. There's a picture.
Oh.
So right before the pandemic hit, he was honored as the Artist of the Week, week of March 15th through the 21st. And so there's his artwork right now. So I have this plaque that I'll present to him tomorrow. I said I wanted to show everybody here.
Oh, excellent.
But it says this weekly award is presented to artists with the most popular artwork on Artsonia, the world's largest kids art museum. So just want to give him a shout out and a round of applause. I know their family's watching, but. Little video, we'll tweet it out and let everyone know.
Thank you so much, Ms. Berry, for sharing that with us. What a great thing. Oh, I love
He's
him.
a doll. He's a
Yes,
doll.
that looks great.
He's quite the artist too.
That's pretty impressive.
Excellent.
Moving right along.
Okay, so
We
moving right
continue
along.
our recognition October 2nd. is Custodial Workers Day. And those of us as a newbie to Evergreen Park, we recognize that our custodial and maintenance staff work tirelessly all summer, and they continue to do so every day to make sure that our buildings are safe. And so at this time, we would like for Jim to come and accept plaques. We're going to ask our president to read the names of our staff. And on October 2nd, each will receive a gift certificate with a plaque from the Board of Education. And we would just like to call their names because they are truly, truly our heroes and sheroes in the district.
There are essential workers.
We are so grateful for everything they do to keep us safe every day and keep these buildings and just looking fantastic. And we couldn't ask for a greater crew. So we are very grateful. So with that, I will call Mr. Hennessy to come on up and receive the awards. There's a lot of them. You don't have any, is any of your staff here with you tonight? Okay,
Limited in the number of people we
I forgot we are limited. Come on.
We
up,
could
Mr.
not invite them because of the number.
I apologize. I forgot. Yes, I'm just, so obviously this is Mr. Hennessy. Mr. Decker, Brian Decker. Scott Kleinhaus. John Gazer. Dan Greger. Chris Nielsen. Ed Zoller. Joe Scorsese. Scorsese, I apologize.
No problem.
Nate Stonequist. Sharon Wynn. Carol West. Tom Messina. John Williams. Jim Rage.
Rocky.
Sorry.
No problem.
First time at it, Kevin Broom. Rick Weidmer. And Sherry Sump. Please, on behalf of the Board of Education and the superintendents, we are so grateful for all the work you continuously. You guys are always up for the challenge, and this year could certainly prove to be no bigger of a challenge for your facilities and maintenance, and we are so proud of everyone in our district, and thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, and just let the team know, when we see them, we try to thank them, and every day, when we see them keeping our buildings the way they're looking, let's reach out, thank them, and help too. We see paper, pick it up, put it in the trash. We can help ourselves. Yep. Continuing on to someone you should know. We have two we're going to recognize tonight. When we see things, we tell when something's going. We always as we seem to say, recognize things that are wrong, but we want to start looking at things that are going well. Someone you should know, Michael Freewalt. He's a member of the tech staff, being recognized for going above and beyond the call of duty to assist student staff and parents with technology issues and professional development. That's Michael, our network administrator. On the other side, Julie Dudasek, a fourth grade teacher in Northeast School. She is a first-year teacher and is overcoming the everyday challenges that come along with synchronized teaching and finding creative ways for her in-person and remote learners to connect and interact. And we saw this when we went to her classroom.
Yes.
She had her students complete a "Where are we in the world?" activity, and they presented to one another. The students in the room and the students who were remote, they were talking to each other. This is just a great example of how teachers balance the in-person and remote learners to make everyone feel a part of the classroom environment. It's tough, but here's just one example. Lots of examples that we saw when we were out that's working well. And these are some individuals you should know. Thank you so much.
I love that. We should do this every month. That's great. Yep.
We're gonna have more recognition.
All right, so moving on, thank you so much, that's great, and thank you to Michael and Julie for everything they do to help make a positive difference in our schools. The 5 essentials.
Yes, so we participate in the 5 essentials, as you know, through the University of Chicago and the Illinois State Board of Education. This is an overview of, next slide. Okay, this is an overview of what the survey is all about. Students in grades 4 through 8 also took this survey, and the responses are not represented in today's presentation as they don't reflect the entirety of the student body. But please note the dates of the survey. These are pre-COVID and pre-many of the administrators taking over the roles that they now serve in. So we look at these 5 indicators of effective leaders, collaborative teachers, involved families, supportive environments, and ambitious instruction. The teacher surveys were administered December 10th, 2019 to February 14th, 2020. And the parent survey was administered October 24th through February 14th. These are the participation rates. So we had strong student participation rate at Central Middle School, some good participation rate by the teachers. Parents, we would like to see more parents involved in providing feedback to us. Northeast had 94.1% of their students taking part, 70% of their teachers, and 28.4% of their parents. Northwest had a higher parent involvement, in fact, the highest in the district, 52% of our parents participated, 91% of our teachers, and 97% of our students.
Wow, that's great.
Southeast had 95.9% of their students, 83.3% of their teachers, and 33% of their parents. Southwest, 96% student rate, 85.3% teacher rate, and 33% parent rate. So as we work through this, we're going to try to get more parent engagement and parent involvement. So we see that as an area that we really need to work on to make sure that our parents' voices are heard. We're pleased with these rates. Many districts and schools in South Cook County struggle to surpass 20% of the parent survey, which is the total percentage needed in order to produce valid data. 5 essentials won't give you data unless it is above 20%. One successful strategy used was to have laptops during parent-teacher conferences last year. And we'll continue to do that so parents have access to the survey. So the teacher responses. The middle change column represents the percentage change from last year's test. The column to the right, a 50 would represent the state average, with scores being better than the state average, and scores below being underperforming when compared to the state average. So we saw a 5% increase in teachers being more collaborative. Stayed about the same with involved families. Effective leaders was down 2 percentage points. Ambitious instruction was down 5 percentage points. Supportive environment was down 10. So the highest performing areas within the 5 essentials was socialization of new teachers being the strongest, teacher to teacher trust was strong, and collective responsibility was strong. The lowest performing areas were program coherence. So that's when we look at curriculum instruction and we look at how we work with technology, curriculum instruction, and really meld those things together to make sure that, I mean, that's what we do. We're schools. So it's an area that we really need to focus on. Teacher influence, we're working hard this year. Dr. Bridges, Webb, and I are working with the union leadership and within our schools. We're trying to be present within our schools, listening to teachers. We think that it's important. They teach our kids. They have important ideas and good ideas, and many times better than Dr. Bridges and I. And so we want teachers to be active in participating. And quality professional development. We realize that this is pre-COVID now. This is not after we had to go into remote. This is pre-COVID. So we know that professional development has to really meet the needs of the teachers. We're seeing that now more than ever with synchronous learning. We had a short time basically, and you'll hear some of the comments, I think, public comments about it, that our teachers are craving more profession, and that's a good thing. Some teachers, you know, you can see their fingerprints in some districts on the lesson plans from the year before. Our teachers are always striving to learn more. And that's what they're telling us here. So it's an area of focus, and we're going to be meeting with the principals, doing goal setting. We're going to look at each of their individual buildings, use this data and develop goals that are effective for their schools. In turn, they can work with their teachers to develop their goals. So the most improved is teacher-to-teacher trust, collective responsibility, and quality professional development. So it flips here, right? And then least improved was teacher-principal trust, reflective dialogue, and instructional leadership. So these are all areas, again, we have some new leaders in these positions too. So we are really looking, when we develop our goals district-wide, we'll be focusing on building and bringing all parties together for the purpose of educating kids. So there are 12 different categories of questions answered by parents. The highlighted boxes show that an example question and responses will follow. So what does it say to us? So parents like to be communicated with. They don't want to hear their child is failing 6 weeks into the quarter, right? They want to know right away. They really want to be involved. As teachers want to be involved in decision-making, parents own our schools, right? So we need to include them and communicate well with them. Parents need to be connected to the schools. I think that only helps us when we have parents supporting our schools, supporting our teachers, working together, working with our administrators to make an educational environment conducive to learning. So we talked about connectiveness, and we have some strong responses regarding being connected to the school. District-wide, we're up 4% with being connected. And Central Middle School, they felt last year 3% higher. Northeast was just down a point, so about the same. Northwest School increased by 4%, Southeast increased by 7%. That's a great gain at Southeast, and then Southwest 4%. It's encouraging to see this kind of growth within our schools. Our satisfaction ratings are great. We really look at improvement with district-wide, going up to 93% satisfaction rate. And this isn't much different than when I was a principal here. Our parents love our schools. Our parents love our schools. And it's really because of the staff within our schools and how much they care about our kids. Central increased 5 percentage points, Northeast 1, Northwest 2, Southeast 96%, and Southwest 99%. Pretty incredible results. Parent-teacher interaction. As I said previously, this is an area of concern. We really need to make sure that we are constantly working with our parents to make sure that they are able to support their children in their learning. Learning can be very complex, and if we engage our parents and provide them resources, it only helps us in our jobs as educators. One possibility we were looking at, it's potentially, so if I use Class Dojo or I use a technology application, that's a new way of communicating, which might not be familiar with our families. So how do we engage them more in that technology communication so that they know that is also a way that we communicate, or our Power School application. Our safety ratings look good. We have, when just reflecting on our short tenure here with the district, we've had a multitude of parents requesting in-person learning again. And the reason they're citing is that they didn't realize how safe it really was to come back to school.
That's a great
And
thing.
we can't interrupt the cohorts right now. We made a commitment. We're sorry about that, but we look forward to surveying in October, just an advisory survey, how many people attend on, so that we can make plans. The principals, we met this week, and they're ready to start planning for January.
These are great numbers this is great feedback from our
And on
parents.
the rise.
Yes.
And the community loves our teachers, and so do we. They are really confident in our teachers and their ability to teach. I think you would be amazed if you walked with Leila and I through the schools and saw the work. And it's hard work. I mean, these are tough times. This is nothing that anybody signed up for.
No, these are tremendous challenges every day
Tremendous
when you walk
challenges.
into that classroom. It's a tremendous challenge to do everything.
And in spite of that, our teachers are doing their best
They are,
every single day and very creative and thoughtful.
yes.
And it shows because our kids are really happy. We have virtually no discipline in our schools, discipline issues. And our kids are happy and they're dressed so nice and so cute in their outfits. They
They're
look like
proud
they're
of where
going to
they're going.
church.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
proud of
really,
where they're
yeah,
going.
they really
Yes.
are. Oh, yeah, I know. I've got some great math pictures on my phone.
Massive conversation.
And you gotta love communication, right? So again, parents report the school staff makes important information and news about the school. And so then again, here's really high ratings of our administrators and our teachers. So that's the overall. Again, we'll be working at the building level with the data that was presented. And working on goals, not only for the administration, but for the building level.
I mean, it looks like there's just growth in every single building where possible. Like, it's just amazing that the feedback that we're getting from the parents, and
Right.
this is pre-COVID, obviously. But yes, wonderful, very proud. It makes you very proud.
Yeah.
Of the work that they're doing, yes.
All right, under threat assessment, Matt Bannock and Vita Newman will present on the threat assessment team. Information from the last meeting is included in your packet. Please come forward.
So this team was assembled by Dr. Maycheck as a result of Public Act 101, 455, which was signed into law in August of 2019. It amended the School Safety Drill Act, which required that we assemble a threat assessment team and annually review our threat assessment procedures with the school board. Our team was comprised of district and building administrators, social workers, psychologists, and a resource officer as required by law. We met initially on January 10th to discuss the scope of our work, to review the law, some sample threat assessment plans, protocols, and outline our next steps. Subcommittees met after that to draft the threat assessment action plan and procedures. And then we reconvened on February 13th to review the draft plans and the procedures. Dr. Maycheck then sent the draft to experts with the National Threat Assessment Center in DC and invited committee members to attend a summit in May. Next slide. So this chart is an overview of the threat assessment process. The purpose of the process is to engage in early identification and intervention of students that may pose a harm to themselves or to others. We recognize that we have systems of supports in place, such as PBIS, to identify students that may benefit from additional tiered interventions, and that's represented on the first half of that chart. School-based teams meet on a regular basis to analyze data and identify appropriate social emotional supports for students in the RTI process. The TAT referral process, which is represented on the lower half of the flow chart, is initiated when a student is at risk of harming themselves or someone else. And immediately following a referral, the team completes a comprehensive assessment of the level of risk and makes a determination regarding the next steps, which may include a referral to an outside agency or an evaluation or mental health services. Now, if the level of risk is determined to be imminent, which is a clear and immediate threat of serious violence towards self or others, we will notify the appropriate authorities or outside agencies such as SAS. We will contact parents and complete the TAT action steps, which Dr. Bannock will outline for you now.
So the committee came up with the threat assessment and action plan document that you see just samples of on the screen now. And what the purpose of this is that the team receives an actual threat from a student or staff or somebody that allows us to quickly go through and ascertain the level of concern with the threat. And so there was different questions that we asked in terms of just trying to figure out, was it to try to differentiate between was it something said without thinking, with anger that just kind of came out, or is it something that was more premeditated where the person has the means to carry out the threat. So once we can kind of, I mean, both of them are not good, but it just kind of, it'll differentiate the response we have to the threat that happens. And so from that, after we kind of fill out the assessment in terms of determining the level of concern, we also look at different areas in the student's life to see like what are the risk factors that are involved, and also what are the protective factors. So do they have a stable home life? Is there somebody that they can count on in the school for support? And then based on all of those findings, we develop an action plan and follow-up plan where we, as Mrs. Newman said, think to possible outside resources or look at possible social work within school, and then also include action steps for the target, whoever the target of the threat was about to choose. And so this was reviewed by the FBI. They have very positive things to say about it. There's a few just like cosmetic, like maybe think of a few word changes. So we did those, and the document that you see is what the final result was. And so then for the next steps, we need to train staff on the use of the threat assessment and action plan. And then with any document within the district, once we live through the document and go through a few of these scenarios and cases, we'll see if we need to adjust the plan as needed to address the student concerns and needs that arise from this.
Any questions from the board?
Claudia, do you have any questions about the threat assessment plan?
I do not.
Is there anyone else that has any questions about this for Dr. Bannock or Ms. Newman? No, all right, thank you, thank you.
The next item we want to share with you is that District 124 will participate in the 2021 Elementary Career Development Program with Moraine Valley Community College. And we are so very happy to be able to have this opportunity. You have a choice, or you don't, but we believe this is a great opportunity for our students. And if it works the way it did where my last district, it's a great opportunity for us to network with other districts. So we will participate with Moraine Valley.
Excellent. Are those the services that we offer for students then?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Claudia, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so moving on to our extended leave.
So as you know, this is a wonderful service that's been very successful for our families within the community that can have before and after school care. So currently, our enrollment is down somewhat due to the COVID-19 virus. But in Northeast, we have 30 students with 2 staff members. Northwest, we have 23 students. Southeast, we have 34 students. Southwest, 48 students. And Southwest has the largest in-person enrollment for the district percentage-wise. And at Central Middle School, we have 13. Also, when we talk about all hands on deck, and we talked earlier about our custodial support, providing cleaning and disinfecting several times during the day. It's required one time during a day. We've decided to do the bathrooms every hour. We do the buildings twice a day.
The bathrooms are done every hour, even though
Every hour,
required
yes.
only once a day. Wow, that's fabulous. How are
Well,
they
they're-
squeezing that into their day?
Well, because our after-school care have stepped up and helped with the lunch. So Samantha Gonzalez and Norma Valdez, Laura Wilcom, Judith Paul, Celeste Rodriguez, and Susan Chupan are all helping so that we can get the cleaning and disinfecting done on a regular basis. And I think that's why we're successful so far with that in-person learning. Yes.
The next article, it's an article in our favorite paper, where parents overwhelmingly, was a survey, they want in-person classes. And if you read through the document, it shows clearly. And what we are offering our parents is the option of remote or in person. And this document just says Evergreen Park is on the right track, because overwhelmingly, the parents who were interviewed for this article, they want their students in school. As you're listening to the news, you're hearing more and more communities, parents are demanding that schools open up safely, of course, so that their children can have in-person learning.
What's our percentage for in-person? 62?
68.
So 68% of our parents are choosing to do in person, and we have people that are acquiring, correct, that would like to come
Yeah,
back
multiple
early.
at every single one.
Yes, and I think that's certainly attests to the fact that we are following our social distancing guidelines. We are practicing and going above and beyond with our facility staff, cleanliness and sanitation. And yeah, that was an interesting article. And you're right, you hear on the news, these schools need their kids to be in school. There's probably no perfect answer, but yeah, 68% want those, in this article. So amazing.
And I have to give credit to the teachers too, because they are making the environment such that they want their kids back.
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate that this is our new world that we have to live in, and that we have to try and, work with this virus, that is certainly challenging every job. Every profession has to figure out new ways to accommodate this and to work around. And teachers have a whole classroom of students that they have to come in daily, and whether it's remote or in person, it's a challenge to continually get everything synchronized and working well. But it's new. It's hard work. There's no doubt. So yeah, that article was definitely interesting. So we're going to move to the calendar revisions.
So Governor Pritzker mandated that all government buildings be closed on November 3rd for Election Day to encourage people to vote in the presidential election. So the district will be closed on November 3rd. Our custodians will be working because we are polling places. We're rescheduling parent-teacher conferences to November 9th and 10th because there is no school on Veterans Day. And the way that the parent-teacher conferences are structured, they're, from 1 to 7 or 1 to 7:30 times. And this gives the teachers off the day after because those are long days.
Yep.
And then we'll be modifying the calendar, adding a day at the end of the year. We're just trying to keep you updated on the changes we have to make in this COVID environment. But we just want to make you aware as we move along.
And we need to add that on November 2nd, we will have school.
Yes. That's correct, November 2nd.
Oh, was it previously before?
Yes,
previously parent-teacher
November 2nd
conferences.
and 3rd
Yeah.
were parent-teacher
In your
conferences.
calendar that you approved
So-
last year.
So
Right.
students will now attend on Monday, and then parent-teacher conferences move to the 9th and 10th.
Excellent. Okay.
That concludes our superintendent's report.
Okay, so do I move that up?
Yeah.
All right, so
No,
we.
go start with.
Okay. Mr. Kostecki is going to present the monthly financial report.
So what we have here is August year to date, 2 months worth of activities. Right now, we've collected about $10,300,000 in revenues. A large preponderance of that, $9.3 million is due to the levy collections. We have strong collections in July and August. But having said that, our collections versus last year's actuals at this time are down about $700,000 or about 7%. I'm hopeful that that's driven by the fact that Cook County was allowed taxpayers to delay their initial payments. But that did not apply to people that had money in escrow. So we'll see if the balance has, I'll keep a close eye on this. We certainly would want to have this perpetual trend. Our key tabs are up a little bit over last year. That's that big element we're always looking for. So far year to date, we have $133,000 worth of refunds we have to give to tax rebates, and we budgeted for about 400,000. So we're still in the safe still.
Will those come in more, or is this just the bulk of it?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what's in the queue.
Okay.
You don't find out until
How they start filing.
they still start.
Yeah.
State-wise, not too bad. They only have about $40,000 being held on us. So they're doing reasonably well. As far as the expense side, we're also tracking very well. Large part of that expense that you see, the total of $2.2 million is obviously salaries and benefits. But that is a component part of our budget is running favorable to budget right now. There are a number of open positions we initially budgeted for, but we probably will not need to fill. So that's helping our situation. Yeah, operations and maintenance looks to be a rather strong percentage compared to the rest of the line items. That's driven by, we now record our insurance liability payments in operations and maintenance versus tort. So it's a little distorted, but we had an insurance bill of about $270,000 that gets paid on July 1.
And are we out of our co-op, our previous co-op? Are we done paying off?
Yeah, I mean, our old medical insurance co-op has been paid in full.
Okay.
Then there will be potential refund checks because our equity is
Right, whatever our liabilities are.
posted on that. Cash wise, we're at about 6.4 months in reserve, which is terrific. Our overall objective is 6, but that kind of ebbs and flows with the collection. And that's about it. Is there any questions?
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Kostecki?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so curriculum and instruction is next with summer school report, which seems so odd that it's like September and we're talking about summer school. Hello, Ms. Field.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. So of course, I'm going to talk about summer school. This year was very eventful for us. Because it was something totally different.
Oh,
for
I
everyone.
bet.
So I decided to do something that was a little bit different this year compared to what we were doing this spring. We decided to do live teaching for our summer school for 2.5 to 3 hours. So there were a couple of things that we did a little differently. The first thing was that we had a parent orientation. And for that parent orientation, it's just giving the parent an overview of what the child's day would look like Monday through Friday. The second thing was our schedule. How would that schedule look? And how are we going to teach for 3 straight hours? And so those were questions from parents and from teachers. So just to give you a visual of how our schedule looked, from Monday through Thursday, beginning in the morning, we had a staff meeting if it was necessary just to go over very important information. And then once school started at 9 o'clock, teachers had their morning meetings with their students. So this could have been something such as reviewing what was covered the day before, or something that was just going on that they needed to discuss to get out before actual class started. From 9:30 until 11:30 was live lessons for reading and for math. So each session was about 45 minutes to an hour, and they allow for breaks in between. just to give those students a break. And at the end of the day, they did something called class checkout. So with the class checkout, it was reviewing what they did for the day. If the students had any questions or didn't get a concept that they did for that day, they would review that. And then from 11:30 and 12 o'clock, that was independent work time for the student. That was also a time for, if parents had questions, they could contact the teacher. And also if students had questions in regards to something that they didn't understand, that was also a time. On Fridays, we continue to incorporate our cultural activities. However, this year they were virtual, which was something new for both us and for the performers. So we had 3 performances, and I'll talk about those a little bit later. But this was also a time for parent-teacher meetings. It was also time for the teachers to do individual and small group work with students. And it was also time for any planning that they need. So I'll talk a little bit later about Fridays. So this year we invited 363 students, and the invitation was based on their winter STAR scores. So those STAR assessments were taken back in December on last year. So like I said, we invited students, and we actually had 104 students to attend virtually. We did have 22 no-shows. Those were students who did not show after like the 3rd day. We did have a decline in attendance. There were some parents who did not show, some students who did not show at all because they were more interested in person, so they decided not to participate during this time.
So out of the 104, out of the 363, you had 104 that fully participated?
Correct.
Okay.
So when we look at our data from this year, and I'm going to go through each one of these columns. Our first column is our grade level. So you can see our K through 7th grade, our number of students that we had per grade. The third section there is class attendance rate. You can kind of see that our class attendance rate was pretty good. Our 6th grade was awesome. They were there 94% of the time. And usually that's our biggest grade every year, 6th and 7th grade.
4th grade wasn't big, or was it 6th grade was really great, yeah, and
Yes.
so was
2nd grade. So
yeah.
Shows you that the older kids are craving that social.
correct. The next column there, teacher instructional grade level. Over the last several years, what we found is that if a teacher has experience in that grade level, that their children tended to do a little bit better because they were familiar with the instruction for that grade level. So we do the best that we can with placing teachers within that grade level. So we actually did pretty well this year. And so then for our reading and math, basically our concept for summer school is either for students to maintain or increase their growth. I think this year was a difficult year just because it was something different. And the one thing that I can say is that our teachers jumped right into it. And they were wonderful with, instructing the students. So our 5th grade, they did very well.
Although our 6th grade had great attendance, they had not significant growth, looks like, for our reading and math.
Right.
That's very conflicting to me, because if you have 95% of the time they're there, but we had such a small increase. But you're right, it's such an odd. They had the whole summer. They had off, quite a few weeks. And were any of these kids the ones that we considered that were not that had not shown up for improvement? Okay. Yeah. That were kind of off the grid, you're not sure. Okay.
One thing that I do know is I was able to join some sessions for the grade levels. Teachers were teaching every day, every minute, and the kids were very attentive and they were participating. So I'm actually a little bit surprised also.
Yeah.
And the next slide is our special education students. There's no data for, of course, our early childhood and structured learning programs, but I third and fifth grade.
Look at
And
that,
our
67%.
Yeah.
That's great.
So we also do a parent survey at the end of each summer school session. This year we had about 52 parents, which is not too far off. We usually get about 60 parents to respond. So overall, they were pleased that we offered the program even virtually. There are a few questions at the bottom. I found the parent orientation sessions to be beneficial. 85% of our parents said yes, but that's the 13% were undecided. So, and then our virtual field trips. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because when I go back to analyze it, we actually had a theme. So it was a music thing, and I didn't even know it. So, these are some of our parent comments. They just indicate that their children liked and loved the experience of the virtual school, summer school, and how appreciative they were.
Yeah, these are great comments. Yeah, they really are. Asking is a dumb question when you're learning. I love that.
Yep. I will continue to have the same recommendations that I do every year. I think we've been doing this for about 3 years now, notifying parents at the beginning of the second semester meetings, so that they can prepare for summer if they are going to attend or not. So I'm going to continue.
When was summer school this year?
I'm sorry.
When did we host summer school this year?
It was in January.
No, host it. When
Oh,
was-
host it. It was from June 16th to July 17th.
I know a couple years ago, we had changed to having it closer to the beginning of the school year. Is there thoughts that that's what we should do again, or?
I mean, I think that's a discussion that we can have.
Okay. And you didn't do the kindergarten start, right? So hopefully maybe next year we can try it. If COVID, behaves itself, we can. I know that was a really successful program for you, wasn't it? With those kindergartners? Yes, I think it really helped prepare them. Oh, great. Yeah.
And then our cultural experiences, we started to incorporate this about 5 years ago, just to give our students some different experiences culturally. So this year, like I said, it seems like we ended up with a musical thing. And I want to thank Vita Newman because she was the person who arranged all of our experiences.
Was she singing?
Dancing?
Dancing. So the first performer that we had was Wayne Baker Brooks. He is a blues guitarist who has worked with Buddy Guy and Johnny Lane. So he told us the story of how he got started and his family history. So that was very interesting. And the one thing that I want to say about all the performers this was their very first virtual field trip that they had. So it wasn't only new to us, it was also new to them. We also had the Ayodele drum and dance team. This was an all-female group.
Wow.
The one thing that really caught me was that they had a young lady who had a testimony about when she joined the group. She was diagnosed with autism at a young age. She said that this group actually helped her with her socialization skills and also her language skills. And so she did a solo by herself, and it was very, very touching.
Wow, that's awesome. So this was on Fridays for the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And then we had a summer school dance party. That was our last field trip. So we had DJ Frost to come in. He played different cultural pieces of music, and
it was a kind of theme, wasn't it? It was.
So the kids really enjoyed that. I mean, even the students, there were siblings who didn't attend summer school. They attended. So it was very interesting because I was the host for the Zoom, so I was able to spotlight dancers. So they really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Wow. That sounds terrific. These kids, I hope they enjoyed those virtual field trips. It sounds like they did. Any questions? Exactly.
Like,
We'd like that Zoom link
please.
next year.
great.
Does anyone have any questions then for Mr. Field? All right, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. Excellent. And then the next is the food service department for breakfast and lunch for all District 124 students.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Here to give a quick overview of what we've been doing and then answer any questions that you may have. So past few months have been very challenging, very interesting. It's really shaking things up with the department. Kind of had to revamp the whole thing, which has been a good challenge. So this past spring and summer, we served breakfast and lunch to the community. Anyone 18 and younger was able to come to Central Middle School and grab a breakfast and lunch meal, which was under the Summer Seamless program. And thanks to the help of my incredible staff, as well as the extended day staff that has already been mentioned, we were able to pull this off, and we were able to serve over 21,000 meals during that time. So that was really, really rewarding. And that program ended right before we started school on September 2nd. And then once we started regular school year, our first full day of school, we were able to operate our program under a new program, not the National School Lunch Program like we normally do. We operated under a summer food service program, which allowed us to use the USDA waiver to provide meals for all, free meals for all D124 students in person and remote. So just a quick overview of the menu. We decided to go with a simple menu, scaled it back a lot just to ensure that all the processes were in place, that we had everything ready to go when the students came in. And then also, ensuring that product availability was there. We had to move to cold grab and go. We couldn't have students touching the meals. So procuring the items that we served wasn't easy. If you take a look at our menu, you'll see that turkey is readily available. So all over the place. But unfortunately, that's kind of what we're confined to when we serve school lunch with the vendors that we use. We have limited availability, as well as the nutritional guidelines that we need to follow as well. So I also, speaking to the menu, we are looking forward to adding some more variety, especially some hot items. Right after Columbus Day is in October, we're going to start adding more, and then you'll start to see that on the menu. We just want to be sure that we have, again, all the processes in place. In the district, we satellite food to the elementary buildings. So we need to be sure that we have enough time to put everything together before we start service at Central. And then it goes out to the elementary buildings. So that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions?
When you go to hot, are you looking for a hot option every day or?
That's the plan, especially with it getting cold outside. Our participation has been a little bit low, and I think that has to do with, just offering a cold item. So we're hoping that will, more students will take advantage of the free meal program in person.
For my kids, it's because of cold options. They want a lot of hot options.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so we're really looking forward to putting that back on. And we'll get more participation. Like I said, that will be offered for in person. Right now, we're looking to offer cold options for remote learner pickup.
So remote learner pickup will also continue through the end of December for free pickups for any students that want to.
Well, as long as we offer remote learning, we'll continue to offer meals to the remote, regardless if this waiver continues on past December or not.
So are they also getting free breakfast too, if they would
Yes.
like? Oh, I think this is, I hope that they continue this forever. I love this.
Breakfast and lunch.
I want our
Breakfast and
kids to
lunch
be,
is free.
I don't want them to be hungry, and,
First.
yeah. So I hope that the Department of Agriculture continues this for the rest of the school year, and
As well.
it's good for our kids. It's good for them to not have to feel like that they have to worry about what are they having for breakfast or lunch. And I'm sure participation, the minute you hit the hot lunches, will grow exponentially. And that's a good thing. So thank you. We hear great things about all the hard work that the food service and everyone that's pitching in to make sure that these lunches get out to our kids. And we are so grateful of such a wonderful staff. We are lucky.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Deb?
You haven't missed a step. You know what I mean? Just to pick it back up so soon after we had to go for
I don't even think you had a minute off, did you?
I mean,
No, I worked that whole time, but it was nice to have structure. I keep saying that, so I'm grateful for that actually. So it helped my home life, you know, structure. So it was nice to have a shorter day, but still it's good.
Yes. Well, we are grateful for our food service workers too. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb.
So we are going to actually just continue. I'm thinking that what we will do is after our board reports, our public comments, our board reports, and right before we go into action items, we will recess back into closed session before we vote so that we could finish some of the discussion items before we vote on them. So at this time, if everyone's okay with that, is everyone all right with that? Yes, excellent. All right. So we are going to move towards public comments. We did receive some public comments. They're on after.
oh, they're on. I'm sorry.
That's- they're on after, I promise. So at this time, we do have some public comments that our board members will be reading. I believe Catherine Fontaine will start out with them. I don't know if you want to maybe move. Will she be loud enough right there? Okay. So just talk nice and loud so our green speaker could hear us. Excellent.
The first comment is from Southwest School fifth grade team, Mrs. Tara Danher, Mrs. Christine Revenor, and Mrs. Maura Quigley. The fifth grade teachers at Southwest School would like to thank the school board for the opportunity to have our views heard this evening. We would like to express our concerns over the synchronous format of teaching that is currently taking place in our classroom. At this time, we are teaching in-person students who are present in the classroom and remote students who are at home to participate in the classroom via Zoom. We want the school board to be aware of the struggles that we face daily due to this form of teaching. The decision to shift to synchronous teaching was made just days before the first day of student attendance, with no precise training on how to properly implement it. We have spent an extraordinary amount of time working as a grade level team to actually figure out how such a plan could work, to design all the digital materials needed to make it work, and to create the Google Classroom classes needed for all students in person and remote to participate in the school day. It is not acceptable to have to work 12 to 15 hours almost every day to attempt to make synchronous teaching work. The most frustrating part is that we know all of this time and energy put forth in our preparation will never allow us to provide instruction that comes close to what our students deserve. As all teachers do here in Evergreen Park School District 124, we strive to provide our students with the best possible education. We do not believe that the present model of synchronous teaching provides this for our students. In synchronous teaching, it is nearly impossible for one teacher to both monitor in-person and remote students in a fashion that we feel is at least adequate. It is not feasible to expect that teachers can effectively offer whole group instruction, small group instruction, one-on-one support, or differentiation across the curriculum using the synchronous teaching platform. We strongly believe that both remote and in-person students deserve their own separate teacher to provide them with the high-quality instruction for which District 124 has always been known. We wish to reiterate that the fifth grade teachers at Southwest School, Mrs. Tara Danher, Mrs. Christine Revenor, and Mrs. Maura Quigley, do not feel synchronous teaching is to the benefit of the amazing students of Evergreen Park School District 124. The next comment is from Tracy Bickham, third grade teacher, Southwest School. I am exhausted daily between technology issues, trying to coordinate in-class and remote learners, and just trying to actually teach the curriculum with fidelity. It is virtually impossible. So much time is lost, and I feel like I am doing both groups of my students a disservice. because it is truly two jobs placed upon one person. I have to yell so my remote students can hear me, causing me headaches, and the classroom students cannot see through the opaque dividers provided by the district. I have remote learners calling for me while I'm helping a student in person and vice versa. Many assignments need to be modified or changed to accommodate remote learners, which takes much extra time. Grading is equally difficult. Using the Seesaw app to take and submit quizzes is hard for remote students to navigate, while reading their writing to grade them is often equally difficult. These are just a few examples of issues I am experiencing with the hybrid synchronous teaching model. We, the teachers and staff, are trying to make it work the best we can for our students, but unfortunately, it is at the cost of our own families' time and health. Melissa Dominique, 5th grade teacher, Southeast School. I would first like to thank all the staff at District 124 for their perseverance and flexibility in these unprecedented times. We are resilient. My question for the board is, when will teachers be provided with the time that is needed for remote planning? We are informing parents that we are building in planning time, but the last remote planning day was used to go over data. I am not saying we didn't need the professional development, but when are teachers going to be given days or the time that is needed to effectively teach both in person and remote? Some districts are teaching 4 days a week and 1 day is for teachers to plan. Other districts are turning their PLC time over to teachers to use for preparing and planning. Can we get non-student attendance days built into the calendar for actual remote planning? Thank you for your time. Melissa Small, parent, Northwest School and Central Middle. I'm writing to express my concern over the remote learning plan for 2020-2021 school year. In July, when we chose remote learning for our 1st and 7th grade students, we were under the impression that we would have a dedicated remote teacher. This, as you know, is not the case for all remote learning students. The plan that is currently in place is not sustainable for the students, but more importantly, the teachers. The teachers of 124 have done a phenomenal job, but the truth is they are being asked to do too much. My heart breaks when I watch my daughter's 1st grade class. The teacher is doing her best to engage the students in person and the remote students, but she is only one person. She cannot possibly give her full attention to 2 places. Another flaw in the plan is the fact that when a teacher is absent, the remote students are doing asynchronous work in place of their school day. While I understand the logistics of training a sub to run a Zoom, it seems like there should be a better plan in place. The bottom line is that because teachers and administration were not listened to and their concerns were not taken into account, both the remote learners and in-person students are suffering. The teacher burnout from this plan is going to provide to be incredible, and the school board should be taking this into account, creating a sustainable plan for the future. My hope is that if the board truly cares about the well-being of the staff, as well as the learning experience of the students, it will continue to work with the administration to come up with more sustainable and effective plans to make this school year a success, or I fear we will continue to lose good teachers.
All right, the next person.
Go ahead.
This is a comment from Corey Stojek, Project 3 teacher, Southwest School. My name is Corey Stojek, and I'm a teacher at Southwest School. Thank you for the opportunity to share my concerns about the current school year. I have been teaching for 21 years. Throughout that entire time, I've been focused on one objective: do what is best for kids. Unfortunately, I don't feel like we are doing what is best for kids by providing synchronous instruction. Kids deserve a dedicated teacher who is focused on meeting their needs. One teacher cannot provide that to both in-person and remote students at the same time. The kids of Evergreen Park deserve better. The teachers of Evergreen Park also deserve better. Teachers are working tirelessly, but synchronous teaching is not working. Teachers have not been given the resources, training, or time to make synchronous teaching effective. Teachers are sacrificing time with their own families and their own mental health. It is heartbreaking to see the amazing, dedicated teachers at Southwest School so frustrated and burnt. Synchronous teaching is not sustainable. I ask that the Board of Education reconsider this method of teaching. We need to do better. We need to do what is best for the kids of our region. This comment is from Linda Blazer, kindergarten teacher, Northeast School. Thank you for the opportunity to submit a statement this evening. I want to start by thanking Katie Patras and Joanne Riley for their tireless work on behalf of the teachers, paraprofessionals, health aides, secretaries, and media aides. We appreciate your ongoing efforts to make D124 a safe and productive workplace. You are amazing. Special thanks to Dr. Bridges-Webb and Dr. Longo for your efforts every day to ensure that learning continues in a safe and healthy manner. Your communications and presence in the building is reassuring and demonstrates that you have everyone's concerns in mind. You could not ask for a better set of interns during these times. To the maintenance staff, thank you. You are doing a great job of keeping our buildings clean and sanitized. We truly appreciate it. To the parents and students, both remote and in person, thank you for your cooperation and support. This is a difficult time for everyone. Your hard work helps make our hard work successful. And to my colleagues, there are no words to express my gratitude and amazement. This is not easy. We were thrown into an extreme change of work conditions and asked to do things we never thought we would have to do. You are doing an unbelievable job. Be it Zooming, synchronous teaching, constant communication with parents and students, ever-changing expectations within the district and state, etc. You are forever professional, brave, and strong. I am so proud to call you my friends and colleagues. These times are not easy for anyone. We must work together, support each other's efforts, and remember that we will come out of this stronger and wiser, albeit a little more tired than usual. This comment is from Allison Grazovich, 4th grade teacher, Southwest School. My name is Allison Grazovich, a 4th grade teacher at Southwest School. I'd like to thank the school board for the opportunity to express my thoughts and concerns about the 2020-2021 school year. First, I cannot tell you how happy I was to have students back in my classroom in August. Seeing their excitement to be back in school, whether in person or on Zoom, was remarkable. I can attest to how tirelessly all of the teachers and staff of District 124 have been working to make this happen. District 124 employees are the most dedicated and hardworking people around, always striving to provide the children of Evergreen Park the quality education that they deserve. That being said, I'm deeply disappointed with the means that education is being provided to these students currently through synchronous teaching. Having a teacher who is responsible for teaching both in-person and remote students does not allow teachers the flexibility to work with students in ways that promote academic growth. Much of a teacher's time these days is spent assisting with technology, not dedicated to academic instruction. This is solely due to the responsibility of teaching both in-person and remote students at the same time. I'm extremely worried that because of these limitations in instruction, my 4th grade students will not be able to make the appropriate gains necessary to teach them. The staff has tried and tried to make synchronous teaching work, but I feel that I'm coming up short due to lack of training and time. Staff is exhausted due to the extreme workload associated with serving both in-person and remote students, and the children are suffering. I know that I can service in-person or remote students, but I've learned over the past 3 weeks that I cannot give both methods of instruction to children at the same time well. I ask the Board of Education to reconsider the means of instruction for the sake of the students and teachers. Thank you.
Excuse me, this comment is from Colleen Cushing, 2nd grade teacher at Southwest School. Hello, my name is Colleen Cushing. I'm a 2nd grade teacher at Southwest School. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. The teachers and staff of District 124 are some of the hardest working people I have ever had the privilege of working with. We consistently meet and exceed expectations that have been set for us. We meet challenges head on to provide our students with the best education we know they deserve. We provide a safe place for students to come each and every day where they can strive to do their best. This year was no different for all of us. We came into this year hoping to provide the best we could for our students. However, we have not been able to provide the best for our students. Teachers were not given adequate time and training to implement a synchronous model of teaching. We spend every day bouncing back and forth between our in-person and remote learners. Our remote learners wait while we are assisting and working with our in-person learners, and our in-person learners wait while we work with our remote learners. Our students are not getting the type of education that they need and deserve. The learning gaps are going to continue to grow bigger and bigger with this learning model. The teachers and staff are on the brink of utter exhaustion from the amount of time it takes to prepare for in-person and remote learning. We are always willing to put in the work to do our best, but this is a completely different kind of stress and frustration. We are worried about our students, worried we are constantly letting them down. I hope this teaching model is reconsidered. I ask that this teaching model be reconsidered for the sake of our students and the sake of our teachers and staff. If this model is going to be with us for a foreseeable future, here are some things the teachers need. An extra device, another adult in the room for part or all of the day, and immediate access to tech support. Thank you for your time tonight. Patty Burns Solomon, kindergarten teacher, Southeast School. Good evening. My name is Patty Burns Solomon. I'm a resident here in Evergreen Park. I have also been a teacher in the district for more than 20 years. Over the years, I've had the privilege and honor of teaching hundreds of children, including sitting board member Mrs. Leonards, Mrs. Cannon, and even Superintendent Dr. Longo's child. Each year during Meet the Teacher, I try to connect with the parents on a personal level. I explain that teaching kindergarten is like having a birthday party for 20 some odd 5-year-olds. You're the only adult at the party. Just imagine before the party, your child changes their mind on the theme 3 times, and you get a call saying that several of the children cannot make it in person, but would love to join virtually. So you as the parent, take a deep breath, stay up late, and you dive right in, because that's what we do. Children deserve our all, and often we go far beyond our comfort zone, often at the expense of our own well-being and the well-being of the others we love. The date has arrived, and now there's no turning back. You have to jump right in and start the games. Unfortunately, you and your virtual guests are having difficulties connecting. Games that were played or games that were planned have missing pieces, and children are getting restless. As a parent, you begin to panic. Panic leads to frustration, and frustration leads to defeat. At this point, you would probably stop and think, what am I going to do? If you have not guessed by now, this is a picture of my life as a kindergarten teacher today. Only I get to relive this party 5 days a week. Don't get me wrong, I love my job, but right now I'm asking myself, what am I going to do? I'm beginning to see looks of frustration. Kindergartners should not look frustrated. Children at this age deserve a blowout party just like every other child. They deserve our full attention. They deserve our help. So I'm submitting my formal request for help. All children in District 124 deserve more. Teachers deserve more, parents deserve more. We as a district need to find a way to fill the void and calm the nerves, because at this rate, we are all ready for a breakdown, and we need your help at the party. Margaret Hooper, parent at Southwest School. Dear board members, I have 2 children that attend D124 schools, and I cannot give enough praise to all the teachers that work in the district. They have been given the impossible task of having to teach both in-person and remote learners at the same time, and they certainly are trying their best. As a teacher who is currently teaching remotely, I can tell you that the prep for remote teaching alone is at least 3 times as difficult and time-consuming than strictly teaching in person. I simply cannot imagine how our D124 teachers are doing both. I'm incredibly impressed with the effort they are putting into trying to do both. But as a parent who is witnessing the results of the last-minute change in the plans for remote learners, I can see that it is not working. I'm incredibly disappointed in the D124 school board for promising parents a remote learning plan with a dedicated remote teacher and then scrapping and changing that plan just days before school started. You left teachers with no time to plan for the changes. You left parents with no options to switch to in person. You have added an incredible amount of stress to students, parents, and teachers. You have failed the community of Evergreen Park. The new plan is not working. In-person students deserve a teacher that can give them his or her full attention. Remote learners deserve a teacher that can give them full attention. Teachers should not be forced to do two distinctly different jobs with insufficient prep time and pay. I understand that it is easy to cave to the loudest voices, but there were many community members loudly demanding in-person learning. But all community members matter. Teachers matter, my children matter. I would love to know what happened to the original plan of having separate in-person teachers and remote teachers.
Comment from Paula Polisek, seventh grade science teacher, Central Middle School. I believe it is important for the community to understand the true academic experience their students are receiving through the synchronous learning process. Teachers, try as they might, cannot succeed when they have not been provided the appropriate opportunity to prepare, the technology to manage in-person and remote students, or the district support to push through the daily chaos. The demand of the district to focus on STAR testing and teacher evaluation in the middle of a global crisis shows how off-base their priorities are. Students cannot be successful when their teachers are not appropriately supported. Teachers are being asked to act as medical staff taking temperatures when thermometers don't work. Technology support when the district technology coaches are forced to substitute and can't help. Do double the student management, trying to keep our eyes on in-person and remote students at the same time. And try desperately to provide your students with some semblance of normalcy. I have heard teachers be called superheroes and stronger than COVID, but we are not. We are not invincible, we are exhausted. We are understaffed, we are scared. The district is not following their own guidelines for student and teacher safety. Students are not keeping their masks on properly. Students are disappearing from school and remote learning with no or conflicting communications to teachers. How can you expect teachers to make safe decisions when we don't know our level of exposure on a daily basis? Megan Bennett, paraprofessional, Southwest School. No one thought about kindergarten when the board voted for synchronous learning. Kindergarten students are not suited for staying in their seats all day. Kindergarten should be half day, half the students in the morning and half in the afternoon. Synchronous learning is not conducive to student growth. Cindy Haas, paraprofessional, Northeast School. I would like to express deep appreciation to the following. Thank you to Katie, Joanne, and the executive board for being so diligent on our behalf. To all my fellow colleagues for working countless hours to make this succeed for the children in the best way possible. To our superintendents, principals, and assistant principals for their support and listening ears. To the janitors and maintenance staff for ensuring a safe environment. To the parents for giving your children the extra love and assistance that they need during this time. And to the tech department for coming to our rescue with our endless cries for help, and to the substitutes for standing by and weathering the storm. May we continue to be strong and hold each other up. Maritza Rivera and Katie Petrus, music teacher and technology teacher at Northwest School. We would first like to acknowledge how hard teachers have been working to make the current synchronous system comfortable for our students. Thank you to administration, teachers, maintenance, paraprofessionals, office staff, and the technology department. We would like to specifically thank Dr. Bannock and Mr. Martinez for assisting the teachers of Northwest in any way possible. As special teachers, we can attest to the great deal of logistics that go into facilitating each music and technology class in synchronous learning. The logistics of Zooming, casting, troubleshooting, posting assignments in both Seesaw and Google Classroom, grading, facilitating, and providing attention to each student in person and remote is very challenging. Because we are traveling from room to room with a cart, having to connect and reconnect to the homeroom Zoom meeting, becoming host, configuring sound, connecting to the classroom projector, casting screens, and also sharing screens takes up the majority of our 40-minute instructional time. We need to find ways to better support teachers by providing them with the resources needed to be successful and to ease the amount of time spent on preparing and uploading lessons to be compatible for our in-person, remote, and special education students.
Thank you to all the board members who read the public comments. Those are all the public comments that we received tonight. At this time, is there any questions or comments from the board? No. All right, at this time, I would like to invite the union co-presidents, Katie Patras and Joanne Riley up.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Katie Patras. I'm here with Joanne Riley. We need to begin our time tonight acknowledging first off our Southwest families and friends and our district physical education teachers. We grieve with you for the loss of Jill. We are better people for knowing her, and our membership is here to support her family and friends in any way possible. Jill dedicated her time, efforts, and energy to our district and our students. Our district is better because of Jill Scapiak, and we will do our best to honor her infectious spirit and her love for life. We send our love and support to her family, Southwest School, and our physical education teachers who work so closely with her over the years. At last month's board meeting, the decision was made to implement synchronous learning. Teachers had 2 days to plan, and even with no formal training for synchronous learning, our teachers have worked and continue to work tirelessly to make it as effective as possible. The logistics of synchronous learning are extremely difficult. We need to acknowledge and thank our technology department, Matt, Julie, Roland, Mike, and John, who spent hours upon hours of their day updating devices, troubleshooting the overloaded network, and physically running all over the district in an effort to support our entire district. Katie and Ann, the technology coaches, for providing professional development opportunities for teachers as they navigate the many apps and device updates. Our maintenance staff at every school who never stop moving to keep up with their daily cleaning schedules. Our office staff and health aides, as well as the staff at the district office, who are fielding endless phone calls and emails while trying to complete their daily duties to keep schools running as smoothly as possible. Every single person in our district is working tirelessly, well past school hours, to make this as effective for our students as possible. We're going to share some successes of the plan so far, and also some areas of concern in a respectful manner, in hopes that we can work together in a partnership to continue to move forward. Some successes we are grateful for include the visits to our school by the superintendents, Dr. Longo and Dr. Bridges-Webb. We all appreciate you walking the halls, stopping into classrooms, and genuinely asking teachers how it's going and what can be done to help. We invite the board to do the same when their schedule allows. Our principals and assistant principals are doing all they can to support their entire staff. Our students are happy to be back with their teachers, whether it be in person or remotely. Parents and teachers are working together to navigate these uncharted waters. Teachers and staff continue to collaborate and creatively solve issues as they arise. Joanne and I personally appreciate the superintendents because we can acknowledge that we have roles to fulfill, and we are able to have difficult conversations respectfully. We maintain a consistent level of communication. There are also some areas that need improvement. In-person needs and virtual needs are different, and addressing these two groups synchronously comes with challenges we've never faced before. So after conversations with the superintendents, Joanne and I decided it would be beneficial to survey the membership weekly. We continue to share the survey results with the admin and school board after seeing the overwhelming concern our teachers and staff have for the sustainability and effectiveness of synchronous learning. Approximately 95% of staff who responded to each of the surveys feel like synchronous learning is not sustainable. Now, we understand synchronous learning is temporary, and we understand the plan cannot be perfect. The survey results shared with you show the need to address recurring issues. We implore you to read the comments and suggestions emailed to you today in hopes that we can work together to make this a more manageable teaching and learning environment for all involved. We look forward to a response from the school board as we need to work together, analyze the problems, and together find resolutions if we want to be effective in the growth of our students. We had included the survey results from the last 2 weeks in your board packet.
As you can see, the synchronous format poses several struggles. Some issues that surface repeatedly from the teachers are sustainability and effectiveness of this format, in addition to unforeseeable technology issues. Teachers are doing 2 full-time jobs and planning for both remote and in-person teaching synchronously. We are in this now, and we need to work together for it to be in any way sustainable. In this unprecedented time, why don't we do some unprecedented planning together? We have offered to be a part of collaborative planning with the school board. We feel we have been honorable to school board members in our public comments. We were disappointed to hear a personal attack and public hurtful comments at last month's board meeting. We ask that in the interest of moving forward to create a genuine partnership, anonymous comments that disparage union membership no longer be allowed at board meetings. It is imperative that you as a school board remember that we each have similar roles in representing a larger group than ourselves. We all need to do that professionally and respectfully. That is what we have done since July 2nd, when we were invited to meet with the superintendents to begin planning today. We would like to reiterate that this is a we and not an us. We have had wonderful working relationship with our superintendents and would like to continue to bridge that to the school board. So once again, let's be an example to other districts. Let's all work together and build a partnership moving forward because we are stronger together than apart. Your experts are in those classrooms and you need to hear them and you need to listen to them. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to a future working together with you. Thank you.
Katie and Joanne, we would just like to thank you for coming tonight. We do appreciate your comments. I read every single one of those comments that those teachers submitted. All of us, I'm sure, did. We went through them and we recognize this is difficult times. We are so grateful for the two of you leading your union and wanting to bridge this and do this together as a we. We get it, we do. And I know for my own personal self, I am doing synchronous too, just like every one of you in those classrooms that have synchronous. It is mind-boggling how much work it is. I go home exhausted. I hear your comments and I feel them. And although maybe they can't, the rest of the board members are not school teachers, they all have some part of a role in the school district and we are all in it with you. We support you. We want to help get better. We hope that this is over and that the synchronous learning will come to an end when we find a vaccine. And we're trying to do our best, just like you guys. We do listen to the comments. We talk with Dr. Webb and Dr. Longo. There's days that we talk 2 or 3 times just between the 3 of us. And they are trying to modify, they are trying to get better. And with your feedback and with your staff feedback on how we can improve this, it's unfortunate these are the times though. It is what it is that we have to figure out creative ways to deliver instruction for all of our learners, regardless of, you know, how it looks, it appears, or that like we may seem like we're not listening. We do hear you and we continue to try and help find solutions or support solutions that both of you bring to the table for Dr. Webb and Dr. Longo. So we are grateful. We are thankful that you are willing to continue to share with us your concerns, and that you're also not only bringing those concerns, but you're trying to bring solutions to the table. That's just as important because like you said, you are in it every day at these districts. So we do thank you and we are very grateful for everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
President Leonard, I think we need to address why we had to change the model. Because if I may.
Absolutely.
With our data and our parent survey, we could enter into this model because we had 70% of our parents ask for in-person and 30% of our parents wanted remote. With that number, it was easy to say, you'll do either remote or you either do all in person. When the changes, and we had a slide from 70% to, from 30% to it actually was 40%, it threw it off that we could not operate with them because the numbers just did not match. And so that's why we entered into synchronous learning and teaching. We know we did not give our staff the time to prepare because we used 4 of our remote planning days getting ready to do it the way we had planned and all summer. But the data changed and it shifted the number from 30% wanting remote to 40%. after we've had requests to come back, but because we had the cutoff date, and we have to adhere because we said, parents, if you want remote learning, you have to sign up for the semester because we have to be able to plan. But we also had to allow in person the opportunity to switch to remote because that is the law, if they want to do so. But if you chose remote, you had to stay with it for a semester. And so we have to adhere to that. And so I just want our audience to know that the plan was not aborted just because. The plan was aborted because our numbers drove that we could no longer offer.
Well, some
just
false information,
false
information was reported.
Yeah, false information drove a lot of decisions at last
It was
minute.
reported, it was reported.
Yeah.
It was reported in the paper that it was reported in the neighborhood paper, who shall remain nameless. The patch, I'm sorry, nameless. And it was falsely reported that we had all of the people testing positive in the district. That was wrong. It was false, and they never truly retracted. They took information and chose their words from a document that was wrong. Alex has been working with the owner or manager of the paper to get a retraction, which they did so in a lukewarm, but it didn't make the headlines. I want you to know the headlines were so big and boisterous that it even hit the paper, the Southtown, and usually Southtown doesn't venture out to do anything, but they picked that one up. And so from that, parents became afraid and opted. We had 60 families over a weekend move from in-person to remote. And that moved us into a different formula that it would not work the way we had originated. And I just think the public needs to know, and our teachers need to know, this was not our design. We had some straightforward clad data based on what the survey said and what our parents said, that we could have operated with a 70-30 that would not work in a 64. So I just wanted to say that. No.
You know, attach back that information?
They took, there was a report that went out that was stated, but they took it and it was wrong from a report that went out from a survey. It was wrong. And they chose their words and it put it in big captions and it was wrong. And then when you wanted to now understand that people get paid based on how you click on, so I refuse to click on if that's gonna add to their bottom line. But I'm very angry and I'm disappointed when when the media does not get it right. If you're gonna copy something, at least copy correctly. And they did not do that. I hope they're listening.
Yes, it's unfortunately that such a bad press coverage on such an important and highly sensitive. People are making decisions with the people that they love the most, their children, and to report such erroneous information and cherry pick out data that they thought would suggestively sell their patch, their their clicks, because obviously that's what drives their revenue. Anyway, does anyone have any comments or questions to the board, please, at this time?
No.
All right, so we are going to move on then to the board reports. Earlier in the meeting, we did suspend the Aero governing report. It will be done at the next month's meeting by Gina Cannon. The next up is the board policy committee meeting of September 9th. I believe Colleen Klimzak.
Yes.
A report on that.
Even though there's an inch and a half here of policy updates, I do not need to talk about an inch and a half of policy updates. I also feel like a broken record because very often when we give these policy reports to my board, there's not a lot to report. And even though there's an inch and a half of paper, there weren't a lot of changes. So this actually expands two different reports. One was the June-July report and one was the September or the August-September report. So the June-July report still had a lot of language in it, COVID response to meetings, that kind of thing. As is often the case, again, a recurring theme. A lot of times the policies were brought up because of a 5-year review, and that's what they have to do. There is some new language, and again, as is often the case, we've already adopted a lot of it for student behavior and physical restraint and things like that. We're usually ahead of the curve, and we are again. So that's good. And then the August and September, there was actually a lot of information about there was Title IX, but the representation of our complaint people. So there have to be people that you can talk to about things that come up, and that has to be done annually. So it was just a matter of changing our names and recording people. There was other information about, personnel and staff development, footnote changes for workplace harassment, terms and conditions for dismissal. Again, a lot of things that were already either part of our policy or don't affect us. There was something about busing. Well, we don't really bus, so that's easy. So yeah, it was a whole lot of paper to say, not too many new things. And we've already made the changes that needed to be changed.
The Title IX being the key changes that we had to do, and all of our administrators have had Title IX training.
So we have completed the Title IX training and
We have
identified who are the people.
Everybody, yes, everybody's been trained. There'll be more specific training for certain hearing officers.
Excellent.
Because we were out of compliance.
Yes. But now we're
Now
we're
we're
in
not.
compliance
But
now.
now we're not.
Excellent. All right, so thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Colleen or Dan for the policy changes? I know that those are quite thick and it's like for 1 word, 2 words, some of them.
Number.
Yes, a number, a renumber.
Instead of a would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so if there's no questions, I'd like to move on to the superintendent search. So I'd like to kind of explain some of our process for anyone who's out there listening and has questions. Our superintendent search has begun. We are conducting it through the IASB. They are doing the search for us. And we did send out a survey a few weeks ago to both our stakeholders, staff, parents, community members, and the school board. Dr. Webb and Dr. Longo are interim retired superintendents. I say retired because that means more than likely they won't be coming back to work, or they really won't be. We are subject to 120 days of each of them working for the school
Subject?
year.
Is that the right word?
Privilege,
Subject?
subject, honored, grateful. The Illinois School Board only allows them to work 120 days each this year. So I say this, and I am very grateful that they are both here, but it is not a typical school year for us because they are retired interims and they are governed by the laws of state of Illinois on how many days that they can work. So therefore, we do have to do a superintendent search. Although we would be grateful, we'd love to see them back next year. We really need to move our district forward, and they have our best interests also. So our process will be that it will close in a few weeks, the superintendent search, and then the IASB, am I saying it right all of a sudden? Yes, will present to the school board a panel of candidates that we will be interviewing and hopefully making a choice by the end of by the end of December. With that being said, we did ask to have a survey resent out just to get the feeling with our community to make sure that their stakeholder voice was heard. For staff members, we had 86 respondents. And I'm not gonna go through every single one of them, but they were very clear in that most of their numbers did not change from the last time we asked them. They want someone who acts with integrity and fairness, advocates and nurtures and sustains a school culture, collaborates with our faculty and community members, ensures the management of organization and operations, promotes the success of every student by facilitating the development, articulation of stewardship of vision. There were 3 questions. Is it important that our next superintendent has previous successful experience? 95% of our staff said yes. That is an important tool for us, and that really did help guide us in our decision. We didn't realize how much it really would. So we hear you that 95% of you think it's important that they have experience. Has had a successful experience as an administrator. That also was 95% of the respondents. We heard you on that, and we also agree. And then had previous successful experience as a superintendent. 55% of you said that that was important. So although only 86 respondents answered the survey, that isn't even 50% of our membership. I would like to think that it's probably a true reflection just because of the last survey that was sent out last year was truly reflective of about the same thing. The community respondents were 254 people. And again, kind of gone through the same thing. They said at the very bottom, which was kind of along the same lines, has had previous successful experience as a teacher. 89% said yes. 88% successful as an administrator, and 46% as a superintendent. And again, it kind of runs similar to the staff members. So during this time, we have this at our meetings. When we're looking through our applicants and we're reading the resumes that they present to us next month, this is also an important document to us so that we know that we're listening and that we have your best interests as well as ours. We want somebody successful. We want somebody that's been an administrator, that's been a superintendent, and a teacher. So we hear you. And we hope that this year that COVID does not prevent us from getting the best successful candidates to apply. It was really challenging last year. We were going through COVID at the time. We started the interviews the week of COVID, I believe. And I can remember saying, this is what we really were trendsetters because we were the first ones that the IASB was working with during COVID that were continuing the search and interviewing. And I can remember I sent the gentleman an email saying, this is what we're going to do to protect all of our candidates. And before even the rule was 6 feet apart, before the rule was, hand sanitizer and masks and all that, we had all that in place. And everyone was laughing. I'm like, I had brought all this hand sanitizer in because it was still out there. And I brought all these wipes and we were wiping like crazy. I'm sure they walked in and smelled our Clorox bleach and hand sanitizer. But truly, we were trying to welcome them at the same time, though, keep reminding ourselves that we needed to keep everyone safe during this process. And certainly now it pretty much looks the same as the last time that we interviewed. We'll all be in masks. So with that being said, we will update the community and the staff and administration as we move forward next month. I believe Mr. Leahy may present with us the next slate if he has it. I can't recall off the top of my head. Yes, at the next board meeting, the slate in closed session, hopefully. So we will hopefully move this process forward, and we look forward to Dr. Longo and Dr. Webb helping us with this process. We are grateful for their input. Does anyone have any questions for me about this? I know that you guys kind of have all heard this before. All right. So with that being said, I would like to make a motion to recess to closed session to finish our closed session. I expect that we should be in there for at least 45 minutes. at the very most, Dr. Longo just said. So at this time, all in favor of going into closed session, resuming closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Let the record show that we are all in favor of returning to closed session.
All we have to do is, put a.
We're green.
We're green.
Is that okay? All right, so we are back at 8:53. Claudia Parker is on a telephone, via telephone tonight. We are now here to go to discuss the action items and consent agenda. Are you ready, Gina? I'm sorry.
No.
All right. I apologize. I should have checked to make sure you were ready. I think those are dirty looks you're giving me.
She's frowning, but we can't see behind her.
Everyone's going like this, yes.
She had it all so pretty and organized when we were in. They tucked it in her bag. Absolutely.
And I gave you the first.
That's true. We bounced back and forth.
Okay, so you ready? All right, thank you, Jeanine.
Yeah.
You're ready. Consent agenda A is to, 1, approve the monthly transaction reports for August 2020. Number 2 is to approve the fund balance report for August 2020. Number 3 is to approve the expenditure report and projected payroll report for September 2020. Number 4 is to approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting on August 13th, 2020. Number 5 is to approve the board minutes from the regular meeting of August 19th, 2020. Number 6 is to approve the closed session minutes from the regular meeting of August 19th, 2020. Number 7 is to approve board minutes from the special meeting of August 25th, 2020. Number 8 is to approve the closed session minutes from the special meeting of August 25th, 2020. Number 9 is to approve destruction of closed session tapes from June 2016. Number 10 is personnel recommendations as listed below. A has 5 additions, B has 1 extended leave of absence without pay, C has 2 FFCRA leave of absences, D has 1 leave of absence for FMLA, E is 2 resignations with intent to retire, F is 2 resignations, G is 1 transfer. With that being said, would somebody like to make the first motion?
I'll make that motion.
And the second? And a roll call.
Kelly Clinton,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Daniel Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes.
B is to approve the resignation request from Christine Wallner, 6th grade at ELA teacher, CMS, effective August 27th, 2020. Do I have
I'll
a
make that
motion
I'll make the first.
and a second? So, all right, and the roll call?
Gina Cannon, no. Kevin O'Connor,
No.
Kim Leonard,
No.
Kelly Clinton,
No.
Catherine Fontaine,
No.
Claudia Parker,
Yes.
and Daniel Malloy.
No.
Motion did not pass.
All right, motion did not pass. C is to approve 3 new paraprofessional positions at Southwest School. Do I have a motion to approve the hiring of 3 new paraprofessional positions? And a second?
I'll second.
And a roll call.
Is it Dan or Kevin?
Dan.
Dan.
Yes.
Daniel Malloy,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Kelly Clinton,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
D is to approve ed tech support extracurricular positions. Do I have a motion
I'll make that motion.
and a second
Second.
and a roll call?
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Daniel Malloy,
Yes.
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Claudia Parker,
yes,
and Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
E is to approve the MOU regarding synchronized teaching as outlined that you've already read. There was one edit to it before being signed before signing that we added, and it's just really just
It was grammatical.
grammatical, so
There was a misplaced
It
comma,
was a comma.
it was a comma, so.
misplaced comma.
So do I have a motion to accept the MOU as outlined with the one edit correction? Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Kevin and Catherine made the first and second, thank
Kevin
you.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
yes,
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Motion is passed.
F is to approve the calendar revisions for 2020-2021 school year as outlined in your packet. Do I have a first motion
I'll make that motion.
and a second
I'll second.
and a roll call?
Gina Cannon, yes. Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
yes,
Daniel Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
G is to approve the threat assessment as outlined in tonight's presentation and in your packet. Do I have a first motion
I'll go first.
and a second motion and a roll call?
Catherine Fontaine. Yes. Daniel Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Claudia Parker,
yes,
motion is passed.
H is to approve the career grant through Moraine Valley. Do I have a first motion
I'll make that motion.
and a second
I'll second.
and a roll call?
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
it was Dan, correct? Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
yes,
Gina Cannon, yes. Kim Leonard,
Yes.
motion is passed.
I is to approve the FY '21 budget for the school year. Do I have somebody to make the first motion?
I'll make
Colleen
that motion.
I'll second.
and a roll call?
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
yes,
Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
and Kim Leonard,
Yes.
motion is passed.
J is to approve the first reading of revised board policies 2150, 220, 4180, 5110, 520, 5100, 5185, 5200, 5330, 620, 710, 720, 740, 7180, 7185, 7190, 7220, 7340, 7345, as recommended by the Illinois Association of School Boards. Do I have someone to make the first
I'll make that
and a
motion.
second
I'll second.
and a roll call?
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor,
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
yes,
Catherine Fontaine.
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes, and Kim Leonard,
Yes.
motion is passed.
K is to approve the first reading of revised board policies 2260 and 530 as recommended by the Board Policy Committee. Do I have a first? First motion, Kevin O'Connor, second,
I'll second.
Colleen Clemzak.
Kevin O'Connor.
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. Kim Leonard,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine. Yes. Claudia Parker,
yes,
and Dan Malloy,
Yes.
motion is passed.
Our meeting is adjourned at 9:02.